Us in the inspiration and pledge. So let me just make one comment. I know this room is a little bit louder, and sometimes when there's talking at the table, we can all hear that. So if we could all be very considerate of that, especially when Marion's talking.
Use your inside voice, Tim.
Be careful with that.
I know, I'm being very careful. Okay. About 15 years ago, when I was my first time as a counselor at Young Ryla, I met this young man, and he was my student mentor. He was graduating from high school that year, and we've kept in touch over the years, and every once in a while, he'll send me something that's touched his heart, and this is what he sent me the other day. Take time. Take a moment to see the good, to remember the smiles, to remember the moments, to remember the little things, to be thankful, to be grateful. Take time to see the wonderful in this world. The more you see the good, the more you will inspire others to see it as well. It's a ripple effect. And I want to end with something I found on the Rotary website the other day. A person's most useful asset is not a head full of knowledge, but a heart full of love, an ear ready to listen, and a hand ready to help others. If you'll join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Marion. It must be pretty special to have friends from 15 years ago sending you inspiration like that. So you're a lucky woman. Okay, we're going to get started here. Everybody bought their 50-50 ticket. If not, Marion can sell you a ticket last minute, maybe. All right, we've got one visitor for sure. Just one. All right, two. Oh yeah, we've got two. Let me start with Eric. Eric, would you just stand up for a quick second so everyone can see you? This is Eric Kinsey.
Hi, Eric.
Elia's husband and proud father. You may recognize him. He was partying with us at the vehicle vault. So we're glad you're here, and you're always welcome to come back.
Thank you.
All right. Our next visitor is Jim Murdoch. Please stand up. I don't know much about Jim, but I met him about 10 minutes ago. He's a former Rotarian, lives in the area, and he's checking us out. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say to the club?
Other than you look like a good rowdy bunch of people. Always looking for a fit. You like rowdy. I appreciate the opportunity to kind of get a little bit of back into what America's all about.
Awesome.
And I've talked to Ryan about some of the things that I need to kind of go through a little bit, but I hope to see more.
Well, good. Welcome. We're glad to have you. And just so you know, we get a little rowdier when we have our social events, which are plentiful in our club. Birthdays and anniversaries, I think we're going to wait for a week.
Still recovering, yeah.
We got Phil recovering, so we'll wait a week for that. Any other visitors? I think we got everybody. The tech team has a special announcement. What?
So Zoom is kaput today. We are trying to record just for the talks. Iffy whether this recording is going to work or not, we're doing our best today. But anytime we go into this room, there's a lot of challenges on doing anything on Zoom. So
All right.
not so much you guys, but the people that were going to be here, apologies for helping work out. We are trying to record though.
Recording on the camera memory chip. We'll try to upload it on Phil's.
Wow. All right. Thanks always for what you guys are doing and working through the challenges. Okay, with all that, I think we're ready to jump into the program. Today we have two of our newer members who are going to give their classification talk. I see Alan's taking a big drink of water. Does that mean that he's first, or have you guys worked out?
I think I'm first.
Ladies first.
Yeah,
And she even has props, so at least one prop. So Ilya, why don't you come on up and give us your story?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Take a shot at that.
All right.
Seems
Thank
like
you.
it's-
Ooh, nice. Okay. Well, hello, everyone. I'm kind of a loud speaker in general, so if I get too loud at any point, let me know. I'm very happy to be here. I am Elia Kinsey, CPA. So we can start. So this is my lovely family. This is my mom and dad at their vow renewal a couple of years ago. They've been happily married 38 years. I have two older brothers. Ben is on the far side over there with his wife Ashley, and then my other brother Josiah, who is married to Amanda, and they have two lovely little boys. Skylar is 7 and Ryland is 4. So just going into my heritage, my mom is Spanish, Mexican, and Native American from the Cherokee tribe, and my dad is British, Irish, Russian, and German. So I cover everything. Next slide. So in high school, I found a passion, and that's singing and dancing. So I was actually selected to be a Radio Disney performer. Best high school job ever. I did it for 3 years. I got to open for acts like Miley Cyrus, Jonas Brothers, everything Disney, which was fantastic and so much fun. I decided to keep pursuing it, tried out for American Idol, got the infamous golden ticket, which was exciting. I did not make it very far, but if you see the next slide, I'm very happy I didn't, because I met Eric literally 3 months later. So if I would have made it and stayed in Hollywood and all that fun stuff, I would have never met him, and my life would be completely different. We got married July 30th, 2010, so we've been married for 11 years. Next slide. And so I went to University of Denver. I pursued finance because I really like the prospect forecasting, all of that fun stuff, but I did minor in accounting. So I thought it was a great balance to kind of have the finance background with accounting so that I could have the historical past data with accounting, and then finance do forecasting, which is always fun to do for tax consulting now. It's actually pretty handy. And I was actually the winner of an inclusive excellent case competition in undergrad, which was a great experience overall. I was actually the only undergrad in the competition, and I won, so I was pretty happy. Yes. And then after, whoops, sorry, I think you've gone a couple, there we go, okay. So after I graduated from the University of Denver, we moved to Charlottesville, Virginia, where my husband got accepted in the University of Virginia for his JD MBA. So we were there, and I decided, I really wanted to pursue accounting. And so I worked for a local CPA firm there and got a few years of experience. The first year I actually prepared about a couple hundred tax returns on my very own, which was great experience, plus of working at a local shop. So, and then if you go to the next slide, I decided that I did love tax. So I decided to get my master's in accounting with a focus on tax consulting. I was the president of my class. I was a student ambassador. And I studied abroad in London, where I got to be part of the market open at the London Stock Exchange. And if you see, I don't know if you can see pretty closely, but I was rocking mermaid hair at the time. I had blue and purple in my hair. It was great. So if you keep going. So in Virginia, we loved going to the horse races. So we went almost every year. It was called Foxfield. It was great. And then I graduated with my master's in accounting with a tax consulting focus, and I actually received the Federation of Schools of Accountancy to Student Achievement Award, which is only given to one graduate student. So I was pretty happy to receive that as well. So I'm a nerd, I think that's pretty clear. Next slide. So after I graduated with my master's, I worked for KPMG. I actually switched a little bit of my focus to more of the tax consulting instead of the tax preparation. And at this time, I worked with Fortune 500 companies on research and development credits. So I actually got to work directly with top companies, one of them being WestRock. And one of the coolest experiences I had was being able to fly on their private jet for our credit studies, which was very fun. And as you can see, this is New York. So Eric and I took an opportunity. My sister-in-law, Ashley, is an amazing photographer. So we did a photo shoot in New York City in the middle of Manhattan. So that's what that is. Next slide. And so I was burnt out with accounting for a little bit. So I decided when in Rome, or AKA New York City, start a clothing line for dogs. So I have a little prop. I started Paw Spoke, which is a canine couture clothing line for dogs. I brought in a couple of my pieces to show off. Each piece is named after an avenue in New York City. This is the Park Avenue vest. And I believe this is the Vanderbilt one. But yep, so this is my Paw Spoke line. I fell in love with fashion while being in New York. And of course, I have a creative side. So I took an opportunity and I ran with it. And actually, when I launched Paw Spoke, I found out I was pregnant. So I, next slide, had Juliet Penelope while in New York City. She was born April 3rd, 2019. And she's the joy of my life. She's incredible, hilarious, and just the sweetest thing. She is now 2.5. So with Paw Spoke, I still have it. It's an active business, but it's more so a hobby for me. So if you go to the next slide, we decided to move back to Colorado shortly after having Juliet. We moved back August 2019. And I went back to public accounting, which truly was my passion, is my passion. And I gained a couple more years of experience preparing thousands of returns from individuals and corporations, C Corps, all the fun stuff. And next slide. So I actually have a CPA license in both New York and Colorado. And like I just mentioned, I've prepared thousands of returns ranging in any type of tax return that you can think of: individuals, LLCs, S Corps, corporations, trusts, estates, nonprofits. I can go on and on, but I love tax. It truly is my passion. And now I am president of DiLorenzo and Kinsey CPAs as of January 1, 2021. And I have just a little over 7 years of public accounting experience. And I also have some experience with canine couture clothing. So if anybody has any questions on these, just let me know. Yes.
She's also a damn good painter.
Oh, thank you. Very sweet. Yes.
Do you have any designs in the sporting dog area?
I do not. They're all very bougie, kind of looking like these. Any other questions? Yes.
She would be surprised if your daughter ever shows up in the Park Avenue vest.
Yeah, actually, I tried it on her when she was a baby. Very good. I was torn. I was like, should I add a baby line or should I go back to accounting? And I was like, accounting's more secure. So, yes.
What type of events are you interested in? What type of activities are we going to see after?
Yeah, so I am very social. I'm very extroverted. So I like going. We're going to go to the opera and doing that kind of stuff. And I also told Elizabeth that I'd love to be part of the community group. Yep, would love to give back to the community. Oh, and I did forget to mention, I'm a first generation for undergrad, I'm a first generation for grad school, and I'm a first generation Rotarian. So thank you guys so much.
Okay, Alan.
Can we pull up Alan's PowerPoint presentation?
I didn't have enough memory.
Elia, it was delightful to see and learn about you, and you were quite animated, and the presentation was like over the top, and so I feel a little bad, Alan, that you have to follow that, but why don't you come on up here?
He could have done Radio Disney, you don't
He's got so much Rotary experience, it'll be Perfect.
Oh, yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
They only gave me 10 minutes. I've lived a little longer, and I have done a lot in my life, and I don't know how much of it I can share as far as what's not bragging or what's not boring. I was born in Rochester, Minnesota. My great-grandfather was William Mayo. And then we moved to California when I was about 4, and my mother had her 6th child. There are 6 siblings that are very close. We all talk almost weekly. We all communicate. We have reunions, and we love it. Then my mom died when I was about 10, so we moved to a little city called San Marino in Los Angeles area, and that started the next dozen or more years of chaos with just a father who was very busy and 6 kids in a big house. And then he surprised us one day and came home with another lady who had 5 kids, and they had 1 kid. So for a while, there were 12 of us living in this house. Pat, Jim, Dave, Don, Ann, Alan, John, Carol and Mary, Steve, Carol, and Linda. Linda is a half-sister. She is part of our family, but she doesn't really, with 5 brothers and sisters on one side and 6 on the other side, she's kind of the middle person. But anyway, back to the chaos that we created. This house, we had every pet you could imagine: monkeys, dogs, cows, alligators, snakes, hamsters, and then my sister came home with a cat, and that ruined the whole thing. From there, I joined the Army, or they joined me, and I went over to Vietnam for a short time, just a year. We missed one of every holiday, but that's okay. And came home, and I went back to college, and I finished college and got married. My wife and I, when I first married her, this is my first wife, we decided we wanted to do something different and special. So we moved down to St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, and bought a boat and chartered out to people for 4 people at a time, usually, for about a week at a time. And those 4 years that we did that was probably a highlight in my life. If you can imagine having 4 people on board for a week, vacationing, and you have to join them week after week. After week after week, we were very popular, so we did a lot of weeks. And she'd do the cooking, and I'd tell the dirty jokes, and everybody was fine. Sailing in the Virgin Islands and throughout the Caribbean, because in the summer we'd sail all the way down to Grenada and back, and it was by far one of the best lives that anybody could have. And I'm grateful for those 4 years. Then we got, this is for you back there, we started an agency, or bought an agency for charter boats, and we started selling charters. And we started a 1-hour photo business, and we also ended up owning a travel agency that our partners didn't want anymore. So I've done a lot down there in the Virgin Islands, and we also built a house, a very nice house on the hill overlooking harbor and the bay, the town, and had our first son, Damon, who was 4 months old, and Grandma came down with her husband to visit, and in the week she was going to be there, Hurricane Hugo came and visited. And this was a 50-year hurricane that came 25 years after the worst one before it and destroyed the house. So we rebuilt it. It was that much of a life for us. We loved it down there. And 6 years later, we had our daughter Ava, and they were in school, and I was working at the school as far as PTA, and I was getting on the board of trustees. And then Hurricane Marilyn came and did even a better job of destroying our house. So we gathered up what we could. Half of it was across the hillside, and moved to California, and we lived in San Diego. While I was in St. Thomas, I did join Rotary in January of '90, and when I moved to San Diego area, Rancho Santa Fe, I joined the Rancho Santa Fe Club, and I've been a Rotarian for, 23 years now, 22. And been retired since we moved to South San Diego. My wife passed away, and several years later I met my current wife, Lori, which I hope some of you have met. She was at the Vehicle Vault with us, and we decided that three of our kids out of 5 lived in the Denver area, so we moved here, and we live just over in the Hearth, and we love it here. I was going to touch on a few other things. In Rotary, I think I've done just about many of the jobs. I've been past president. I was on the foundation board for years. I was always on the entertainment board because I had a bigger house and they like to use it. And I am a Paul Harris Fellow, and I'm a member of the Paul Harris Society. I give every year. And I am a bequeath member, I think they call it, where instead of leaving a life insurance policy or something in my will, I've just given them the money up front. I didn't want my trustees to have to figure it all out in the end. I love Rotary. I love what it does. My old club was parallel to this in a lot of ways, with the backpacks and helping the different charities that you all help. And I feel very comfortable here. I just have to figure out how to remember everybody's names. Yep. The tags are a godsend. If you're not wearing your tag, you're on my blacklist. I've had a very exciting life, and I'm very grateful. Ski, snow ski, water ski in the past, tennis, private pilot's license, and even hang gliding a little bit. Lived through some motorcycle years. So I'm at a point where I'm retired and tired. But most of all, people are what makes everything work, and so I'm glad to get to know all of you as people and friends and fellow Rotarians. Thank you. No, you don't have any questions. What's this?
You mentioned you held a number of offices in Rotary, and I'm just asking this for a friend. Have you ever been the treasurer?
Guy, I wouldn't be the treasurer on a bet. She'd be auditing me. No, I was very lucky when I was president. I had to find a treasurer, and this very sweet girl in the club came up to me and said, I took finance in college. Could I help? Can you help? Yes. No, I'll